Well, hello and welcome to another RiderCamTV video, and today we have got the spectacular BMW R1300 GS Adventure. This one's in triple black. It's got all the gizmos on it. It'll go from 790mm right up to something ludicrous. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. It's got auto leveling, auto suspension, auto cruise control, you know, that one that slows you down as you're riding along. It's got indicators in the handlebars. It's got these lights on it, little bunny ears as I like to call them, sticking out of the side on the frame. And it is an awesome bike. So we are going to go and have our first ride to see what it's like. So starting it up, you notice that there's no keyhole at all, because the key is, well, the power is on there. So you've got to make sure that you don't lose your key. And this one is the normal one. Oh, I hear that. This is the normal one. So this has got a clutch and it's got the gears as you would expect on the motorbike. Let's make sure I don't hit anything. Do you know, instantly it feels like I'm on an adventure. And I know that sounds really strange because it is an adventure bike, but instantly it feels like I'm on the 1250 GSA, but with a bit of a difference, because the 1250 GSA, I felt like I had my hands up here, whereas I've got my hands down here. It feels actually really nice. Now, this one's got a automatic screen on it, and you can work the screen by here. So I think I've got the heating is on the first button, and then you press and hold, and then it will go to your screen. So the screen will go up, and it goes right up. The screen will go down. And the good thing with this is, much like the RTs, so when you're riding off, wherever you've had it, it will go back to that normal setting. Same sort of screen that we have on the 1300 GS or GSs, the 1250 GSAs, and you could argue, you know, why have they not changed this for a bigger one, integrated sat nav and stuff? But if it just works, it works, doesn't it? And the problem with the connected ride, I have loads of problems with it, so I've not used it at all, to be honest, because I kind of gave up with it. And I like the ability to be able to put your XT or BMW sat nav or a Chigee or Cardo Ride or all that sort of thing on the satellite prep, which is good. Now, right in front of you, what's it feel like? What's it look like? Right in front of you, you've got this big bulky amount of tank, 30-litre tank. It's got 310 miles in the tank, and it's fully brimmed or filled up. So you're looking at the same sort of mileage as a normal 1250 GSA, really. Up front, you've got this pocket, which is wide enough and big enough for an iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is great. And then in under here, you have got a USB connection, which is brilliant, so you can charge it in there. This looks as though it's quite substantial, so the phone's going to be held in there quite nicely. And then you've got these hooks and things right on the front, so you can put a tank bag, all that sort of stuff. But when you stop for coffee, you've got coffee pads. How cool is that? And it feels really, really rugged. I'm just eager to get out on it now. Mark's riding the ASA version of the 1300. Right, going into gear, there was no clunk, not one bit. I'm going to do that again. So, there was a little bit of a sound clunk, but normally you get like a vibe from the front or a pull from the front, and nothing at all on this one. It's got the indicators here, the collision detection, which is good on both the mirrors. You might be able to see it just there, and we'll see how that works in a minute. Now, first, it actually... it's really weird to say, because on the RT is very much on the RT you're very much got bent legs, because it's more sporty. Now, getting back on an adventure bike after riding Barney and Alvin is really quite strange, but really quite nice, actually. Just that mirror, I can't see a damn thing out of it. That's better. That's a bit better, and that one. Just do that first. Right, so when we came out of BMW there, it sounded very much like an old traction engine, like got a bit of a whine to it. I don't think that whine is a bad thing, to be honest. I think that whine's alright. Hear it? Thank you, van, for pulling in front. So it's got a bit of a whine to it, but I think the thing is, they've brought out a completely different bike. They've remodeled how the engine works or how it's designed on the outside. I'm sure they've done exactly the same to remodel how it works on the inside as well. And you're going to have slightly different sounds. I actually think it's quite good. So I'm going to put this screen up, so I need to press and hold. Now you can set it up however you want to set it up. So let's put the screen right up. Right, that screen is right up. Now, you've probably heard a difference in the sound because I am not getting any wind in my helmet whatsoever. Nothing at all. That is doing such a good job. Such a good job. Now, there is a bit of engine noise coming from, or road noise coming up through that hole, but they have put a plastic mount in there to try and limit that amount of noise. But I wear those earplugs that you've seen me talk about from Ultimate Ear. So it really doesn't worry me, to be honest, because I'm always listening to music or not really bothered by the sound of it, to be honest. Gears are really good. Gears are really nice. Hopefully we'll be able to get somewhere and have a bit of a play, thinking about which route to take. And I think I know which route I'm going to take, so let's go this way. Confusing mark because this isn't our usual test route. Now it's got hill hold, which is good, so I'm on a hill. Hill hold is really good, and I find that on the RT I use that all of the time. I want to take a slightly different route today so that we can get a couple of twisties in and get up to speed a little bit, and then we can go and talk about the bike. Right, so this seat is on its highest possible. Now this bike I think is on auto, so it should slow down, it should lower itself down and higher itself. I haven't really noticed that happen, but the seat is one of the low seats. Or it is the low seat, but it's on the highest possible connotation that we can get it, just to make it feel like it's quite high up, and this actually suits me really well. The handlebars, just the right width apart to get that manoeuvrability without feeling that you're really wide. It feels like, and I know that people will say, oh, what are you talking about? It feels very much like I'm on a GSA, and yes, of course I am, but I've come from an RT and a whole host of GSAs, 1250s. This doesn't feel an alien place to be. It feels quite a natural place to be. I don't feel like my arms are overextended either out to the left and right or forward towards me. My back's right up straight, which is a little bit different than the RT. The RT's slightly forward a little bit. It just feels like everything's in the right place. Now the engine does feel different, like we said earlier on. It not feels, it sounds a little bit different. So let's see what this bike will do. Right, we're going to come into a 60 in a minute, and then come out ready. This is a 40 at the moment, and I'm going to blast it to 60 and see how long it takes to come down. Wow. Absolutely no time whatsoever. And I tell you what, the bike doesn't go up in the air at the front as much as I thought it might do. It doesn't go down at the back as much as I thought it might do. It actually sits quite planted, and this screen, I know I keep saying about the screen, but the screen is, wow, that screen is really, really good. So there's loads of people out there that don't like this. there's loads of people out there that will like it. I think what they've done with the design of the 1250 has changed it quite radically. It's quite boxy, it's quite square, it's got lots of angles on it. But if you think back to when they made when they first brought out the 1200 GSA, actually that just looked like somebody had held a magnet on a frame, chucked everything at it and gone, that'll do. And everybody loved it, but they hated it at first. The same sort of comments that we've heard about this bike on that bike as well. So I'm sure that those comments, when you actually come out and you ride the bike, I think some of those worries and concerns about what you think about the bike actually disappear. And I know that it's one of those cliches to say, when you go and have a look at the bike, you might change your opinion of what the bike is actually like. Now, at first impressions, when I was looking at the pictures like everybody else online, I'm thinking, I don't know, I don't know whether that bike looks very nice at all. But then when I went to see it, even though it wasn't my favourite colour in that Tantrum green, I probably said that completely wrong, but that green colour wasn't and isn't the colour that I would choose, just because I don't like it that much, to be honest. In actual fact, the bike looks something special. And do you know what? It looks completely different. So if you want something with the styling of a Ducati, go and buy a Ducati. If you want the styling of a Triumph, go and buy a Triumph. If you want the styling of a 1250 GSA, go and buy yourself a 1250 GSA. If you like this styling and you're ready to take a step into new technology, perhaps a newer style bike, then go and grab yourself one of these. They're really good. The screen is good. I haven't seen any lights come up in my collision detection, but then we haven't been on a dual carriageway or anything like that where I've been overtaken, so I wouldn't expect to see that. But the triangles are really quite big, so they're going to be quite good. The adaptive cruise control on this works so well in the same veins when it came out and was put onto the RTs. It works really well, and this is coming from somebody who absolutely hates adaptive cruise control. I remember being in a car once with adaptive cruise control. It was a hire car from work, and I was going along the dual carriageway, and it was on a slight curve to the right. I was in lane 2, and a lorry was pulling up from lane 1 into a lay-by, and the car mistakenly thought that the lorry was going really slow and almost jammed my lips onto the windscreen. It was the most horrendous thing. I've always been firmly in the mind that if you've got cruise control, you should be in control of cruise control, and you should keep your wits about you rather than, dare I say it, falling asleep, because we've all done those journeys and thought, how on earth did I get here? I can't remember that. And I think that's what that adaptive cruise control could do for some people, make us very lazy in some ways. But when you're using it on a dual carriageway and a motorway and that sort of thing, when you indicate to overtake, it picks up, it then comes back in, it doesn't jam the brakes on. It's really quite a smooth, thoughtful, considered ride from a bit of machinery and a bit of tech that just runs it all for you, and all you've got to do is point it in the right direction and keep your wits about you. I think that the adaptive cruise on the BMWs in particular are some of the best adaptive cruise controls, certainly on a bike, that I've ever ridden with. Things like the screen is exactly the same as the GSA and the 1300 GS. So if you're coming from another BMW, the switchgear, the screen, it all works in the same way. That's the TFT screen, that is. The only thing that I do find, even though my legs are in the right place, so I'm at like at 90 degrees knees, or slightly over actually, just a little bit more acute, 90 degrees at the hips, so I've got straight back. I have found that the gear selector and the brake pedal are in just a little bit, so you've got to get used to moving your feet in to do it, to use both of those levers. But I know they're probably going to be slated by loads of people, but I just don't care at this stage. BMW haven't given us this bike to go and tell everybody that it's the best thing since sliced bread. They've allowed us to ride this bike very kindly for Motion BMW with Dave and Mark and Chris and Andy and all the people that work there. They're really lovely. They've allowed us to take this bike out, to ride it and see what we think. I'm not concerned with figures, as you know, so it's got X amount of horsepower, it'll go this fast, it's got this cc. Who actually really cares about any of that? We'll put it up on the screen if you do, but in terms of the ride that we're on, it's all about how we're finding the bike, what it feels like to ride, what are the things that you might think about if you've come to this bike from a 1250 or from another bike. What things should you think of? Not necessarily to say, yes, this is the best bike since sliced bread, because we don't do that. We've had a couple of bikes that we've ridden and we've said that they've been downright awful, to be fair. But genuinely, I really like this one. Really like the feel of it. It's smooth. I'm not getting any vibrations through the pedals, through the handlebars. It just feels really refined. It feels like I'm on not a new Century bike. It feels like I'm on a totally remodeled bike with a lot of smoothness that's been borne in mind when they've been making it. Not only about the lines and stuff, it's going to be easier to clean. I love the fact that this tank is wrapping or allowing me to wrap my legs around it, which means that I've got lots more wind protection and lots more rain protection. The seat, really comfy, in the right place. It's all set up right. We've got the screen at the top, screen up here that you can adjust. So yes, I haven't got to think about getting extra things to put onto the screen to stop buffeting. I've had no buffeting, and that's been at 30 miles an hour all the way up to 60 miles an hour and beyond. It's just a really nice place to be. And I didn't think that I'd find myself saying that, because I was torn between what this thing actually looked like, what I thought that it should look like, and I think that's where a lot of people are coming from when they talk about this bike. It feels very, very planted. It feels like you're in control, but they've just refined things on the 1250 to make it into this exceptional bike. That's how I found it. I like the fact that they've thought about putting phones actually on charge, and bigger phones. My RT, bugbear, I can't even get it in the slot that it says that it should go in for you to be able to charge your phone. This one, it goes in, it locks, it's right in front. Well, it doesn't lock, but it shuts with a clasp. It's got the USB in there hidden underneath, so it's not in the way when you want to put your phone in there. All the switchgear is really good. I like the sound of this, actually. I actually do like the sound of it. I like the look of it. I like the feel of where I am. I'm not getting wind on my hands, in my face. The mirrors are in the right place. Yes, they haven't changed the style of the mirrors, but why change it if it's working? Overall, I think this is a really, really smart bike. Would I have one? I think I would. I've been that impressed by it. I'm not sure I would have the green one. I don't like the red one. It's purely me. I don't like the red colour really that much. The triple black, yes, I'd have the triple black, which is what this one is. And what other one might I have? I think it's called the Trophy. Red, white and blue one. Wow. Now that one looks special. Just pull the dog back. That one looks very, very special. Hola. Buenos dias, buenas noches, buenas tardes. Whatever time you're watching this, it's a good time to watch it, because we've got this thing here. This is the BMW R1300 GSA. Woo! Now, you've seen the video where I sat on it and I really liked it. And for all those people that put comments in saying, oh, BMW's a parody now, you wouldn't see me on if I'm dead, don't buy it then. Simple, isn't it? if you want a bike that looks like a Ducati, buy a Ducati. If you want a bike that looks like a Triumph, buy a Triumph. But you've got to remember, I think, that when the 1200 GSA first showed itself,
1100,
or the 1100, people really didn't like the look of that. Then the 1200 came out and it was all pointy and all these things and people hated it. It's one of the best-selling bikes in the world, if not the best-selling bike in the world. So people aren't buying it for no reason, are they? This, people have been divided, haven't they? I fall in the camp that I'm actually quite in love with it.
I love it.
I love it too. But this is the triple black version of it, and I've ridden it and had my first ride, and obviously you've heard me chunder on about everything and anything. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I liked it. Now, people in our comments have said, oh, well, it would be a good review because BMW have allowed you to ride it. We've had some bikes that we've taken out before and they're utter and we've kind of said that. This one, however, isn't. This bike, sitting on it, now I've gone to RTs and had GSAs, and GSAs feel like they're up here and the RT feels like they're down there. This feels like it's something in the middle. And from the very beginning of sitting on this bike, I felt like everything was in the right place. And I even said on camera, Mark, you know, we farkle our bikes, don't we? And we put all these extra bits on there to make buffeting go away and to make it warmer on your lovely little hands when you're riding. I don't think I'd do any of that apart from put a dash cam on it. That is the extent of what I would do to this bike to make it my bike.
Wow.
Wow. That's really quite good, isn't it? So, seating position. I really like the seating position. Does my bum look big in this?
It's the cakes that make your bum look big, mate.
But RT is very much back, so my knees aren't 90 degrees. It's a bit more sportier, but where a lot of people have the issues is here. This is 90 degrees, or it feels 90 degrees. And that, I always felt that I was a bit further forward, so on the 1250 GSA, I'd have to get an up and a back just to make myself feel, this is in exactly the right place for me.
Did you not feel that the handlebars were down a little bit?
No, I felt like it was just, it's almost like Dave at BMW has said, come down and test ride our bike, do a video on it, but this might be your bike because we set it up for you. That's how it feels like.
Well, it might be your bike.
Don't know, but this is how it feels. It feels like everything's in the right place. The seating position is really lovely. The seat is really comfortable, and this is on the auto setting for the suspension. It gets very confusing. Get the right one for you because there's so many variations in height, variations in seat height. Now, Dave said that this is something. I'm not sure whether this is the lowered version or it's a bike that's in its lower connotation, but the seat is on its highest bit.
That's right, yeah.
But it makes you feel like you can touch the floor all the time because it's thinner. The seat isn't as wide as the 1250, so it feels like your feet hang down further, so you can touch I mean, this is on the centre standlet, and I've got both feet tiptoes on the floor, on the centre stand. That's just insane. But this styling, now this, if you squinted and you went like that on a bit of paper over GSA 1250, it's probably what you come up with, isn't it? Not dissing the designers that have spent hours and hours deliberating over what they do, but this actually feels more substantial than the 1250 GSA. I feel that you're going to get much more wind and weather protection with riding one of these than on a 1250 GSA.
Well, it's actually, see, you can, if you look straight on, you can't see your legs at all. There's that much protection.
How cool is that? And get this, these little bunny ear things, apparently they've been put on there so that if the bike goes over, it's not going to allow the bike to topple over and over and over, so it stops it. But on a long ride,
that's just wrong. It's wrong on so many levels.
But we've all been on long rides and all we've wanted to do was just rest our legs. Now you haven't got to buy any high-ray pegs or anything. They're already here. Already done for you. So come round here, Mark. Ooh.
Which side?
Any side.
Oh, God.
So, switchgear, all exactly the same as normal BMW. So you know you're going to get quality stuff. all good feedback whenever you press it. The starter button is there rather than in the middle now, which might take some getting used to, but you're not going to have your keys flapping about if you do have the version with the key. Not that you can get it on this, but if you had it, it's not going to flap about. On the left-hand side, on these, you've got the two buttons, the same as the GS 1300, where this one, you can set anything to work straight off of the off and up, the up and down, like your heated.
Like a favourites button.
Yeah, like a favourites button. And then you've got to press and hold that one to then activate what else you set as a second favourite. I quite like it, although it's going to take some getting used to if you've not ridden it. But all the other switches and dials are exactly the same as any other BMW of latter years, really. The screen is really vibrant. When you turn the bike on, the screen does its stuff.
Vibrant? You sound like Gordon Ramsay. Make life a ride.
There'd be a lot more swearing if I did. But the fonts are the same, the screen is the same. In essence, this is the same as the 1300 GS, which is my only kind of, if there was a slight criticism of BMW, they've got bigger screens on the RT, they've got things integrated into different stuff like the connected ride, which I don't really like, but I perhaps would have liked to have seen the screen a little bit bigger. But what I do like is that they've still got this, which means that if you want a Chigee, a Carpure ride, an Apple CarPlay, Android Auto device, a Garmin, or, need I say it, the BMW connected ride thing that some people like, you can still have that sort of stuff. So, yes, I would have liked the screen to be bigger, but because they haven't, and they've left the sat prep there, actually, I'm quite happy. It's a really lovely place to be. There's loads of stuff on this bike. My RT has got a wireless charging capability for my phone in a little pocket, but they neglected to make the pocket big enough to get the phone in. And it overheats, so what they did is put a fan in there. Excellent. This one, you don't need any of it. My iPhone 15 Pro Max will fit in there.
You're just bragging now, aren't you?
Yeah. And underneath, you've got your USB connection. It's still the old USB, not USB-C. Oh, actually, it's a USB-C by the looks of it. Take that back. So they've come up to the new standards, but it's actually below it. So you've got a cable that will run up through the little cutout, and your phone will sit in there nice. It doesn't lock, but it locks shut, or shuts shut with a clasp. So,
your command of England is amazing.
of England or English. So this is a triple black version, and I've never understood why they say it's triple black on any of their triple black models.
3 shades of black, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's not black, it's grey.
Exactly.
However, I really like it.
It looks like brushed aluminium, doesn't it?
It does, and it's got this, you just want to touch it like this.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. What about the welds?
I really like the welds because this is a...
Does it make you want to lick them?
No, but this is a... What am I trying to say? It's a rugged type bike. If that was all smooth, you wouldn't notice it because you wouldn't have seen the welds. I really like the fact that the welds are there. You might need to get some sort of protector in there just because it's
well, I noticed when you were sat on it that because of the shape of the seat,
yeah,
you're actually not touching that at all.
Oh.
That was my observation of that.
I like the fact that they've got these bits on here. Apparently this is patented, this thing. So you can put your tank bag. I'm not a fan of tank bags, but we will put in, there's a whole host of stuff up in the showroom of all the bags and stuff that fit on there. So all these bits, these are extras, but you can get bags to fit on there. I think there was a bag fitted somewhere around here, and we'll show you.
Like a tidy bag fits in here.
Yeah.
But we'll show that.
The boxes, I've got to say, the panniers actually look really good. They all open at the top. Yay, I'm a fan of that. So I don't know whether my Boomots won't fit here, but it won't be long before Mr. Boomot makes some sort of device to hang them on there. Yes, they've got electric on one side and not the other. I've never used it in there, probably wouldn't ever, but because it's there, perhaps I might try it, I don't know. Lights. These lights are phenomenal. Now I was behind Mark on the 1300 and I flashed at Mark. Oh, come closer, you've got the key. Let me turn it on there.
Hang on, let me give you the key. Let me give you the key.
From your new jacket.
From my new jacket.
Yeah. So these lights are phenomenal.
Wow.
And they're really bright. I was behind you, Mark, on the 1300 when you rode this back. And when I flashed to say, let's go that way because I want more fun, the whole of the road, including the back of your back, lit up.
Wow.
Really, really good. These come as standard, I think,
Yeah.
but they don't have covers on them. I think you have to add covers on there as an addition, but there's going to be loads of additions that come to these bikes. The sound of the engine is very different than the sound of the engine on the 1250 GSA.
But let's look at what's making it happen.
Right, I'm going to put that key in there. It's very, very, very different sound. Now, I quite like it. Now, when you pull away on it, it sounds very much like one of those old Bedford vans. So the sound of it is very different to a 1250 GSA. And there's lots of people out there saying, oh, it whines. I think the only
I
people...
think it sounded really nice. When
I think, personally, the only people that are whining are the ones that are in the comments, not the engine. The engine, I think, actually sounds really nice. It sounded like an old Bedford van when I pulled away. You know, that kind of whining type sound? I actually quite liked it. And when I was riding along, I didn't notice any completely different sound or any sound that would get on my
nerves. You think it felt lighter?
Oh my God. Yeah, this is 1 kilogram heavier than the 1250 and it felt like it was light as a feather. Don't know what they've done, how they've done it, but they've just achieved something incredible. Flickable. It is flickable, isn't it? Comfortable. I found that the seat in this configuration, sometimes I've had to, on my 1250s, either have that up like that or like that, depending on how I feel on the day, and sometimes get uncomfortable. This, not one part of my body all morning has felt like, oh, that might start aching at all. It just seems to be ergonomically fitted right, if that makes sense. Things like the engine cases and the frame, it's all the die-cast stuff. It's all the really nice finish.
Like a graphite finish.
Yeah. I don't know how they've made it or what they've done to it, but it just looks so much better. Tiny exhaust. Now,
really tiny.
You can get an Akrapovic if you want one. I, like you, Mark, have said many times, they spend millions of pounds on development and they put that on there. It sounds really nice and I wouldn't go to change it. If I bought one and it had an Akrapovic on there, so be it. But I'd just have this one and that gets really annoying for me. Really like this. Got the adaptive cruise control on the front and the back. No, on the front.
It's got it on the back as well. You can have it on the back.
But I think this is the collision warning. And the collision warning, I didn't see working as I was riding on this because nobody was overtaking me or near.
When I rode it, it worked.
But when I waited for you to catch up and pulled out, a couple of cars went past and it worked brilliantly. And that's really quite a thing there, that little triangle, really good. The lights on the back.
Can I say that I did mention when I was riding the GS that, you know, I like the big single light, but the fact that they've changed these lights, they've listened to people, haven't they? Because the old multifunction lights were absolute garbage on the 1250.
Yeah. Because
when you were indicating and you put your brake light on, it completely drowned out the indicator. When you had your brake light on, you could still see the indicator on these.
Yeah.
So that's an improvement.
I think they've made it bigger inside. So all in all, I wouldn't change anything about this bike if I had this bike.
Do you know what my whinge about them are?
Go on.
It comes in 3 colours. Triple black, which I like. I don't necessarily like the triple blacks.
Yeah.
The triple black. And
Trophy.
it comes in that...
Is it a trophy? The blue, red
The trophy, the blue, red and white, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. Pops.
And the horrible red.
I don't like the red. Some people will like it. The green...
When you've seen the GS 900, which is in that fluoro yellow, why couldn't they do that? Because I'm sure people would buy it.
Oh, they would love that. Yeah.
Just so dour.
Perhaps we ought to buy a load of them, change the colour and then sell them on.
I know somebody who's had his wrapped actually.
And the best bit, so we all like to meet, don't we, in different places for bikes. Now, you know, on the old one, other than having your panniers, there's nowhere to put anything. And I know people don't like the look of these, but I think they're actually really good. They protect the plastics a little bit. You imagine stopping for coffee. You've got somewhere to put your coffee now. It's brilliant. They've thought about everything. Overall, I think if you're one of those skeptical people, and I'm not selling the bike for BMW, if you're one of those skeptical people that hate the look of it, don't like it at all, just give it a chance and have a look at it. Take it out for a ride, because I was very skeptical about what I would think about it before I rode it. And in actual fact, I hate BMW now, because they keep making these bikes that are just so good. And every time you get on it, you think, I'd really like this bike. I really like it. Would I get one? Loads of expletives, yes. So go down to your dealership and have a look at yours. We'll put all the specs up there, but I'm really not interested in specs anymore for these bikes at all, because if they can do 70 and sustain it, if they can get there quick enough, that's all I care about. See ya.